Have you ever noticed how everyone's talking about AI agents, AI workflows, automations, and autonomous systems? But when you ask them what these things actually mean, they either hesitate or say something vague like, well, it just does stuff automatically. And I get it, this space is moving fast, but the confusion around these terms, it's a real problem. Because if we can't tell the difference between a tool that needs instructions and one that makes its own decisions, we're going to design the wrong systems, buy the wrong products, and seriously misjudge risk and value. So today, I want to fix that. I'm going to walk you through the three real types of AI we're dealing with in 2025. Non-Agentic AI, Semi-Agentic AI, and Fully Agentic AI. I'll explain what they mean, how to spot them in the wild, and how industry and social media are mangling these terms, often without realizing it. So let's get into it. Let's start with the problem. Right now, you've got startups, influencers, even some enterprise vendors tossing around terms like our AI agent automates your whole business. This is an autonomous AI assistant, end-to-end AI workflows. But when you actually look at it closer, it's usually just a chatbot connected to a few automations, maybe some conditional logic, but no actual agency. The AI isn't setting goals, making decisions, or adapting to change. It's just following instructions someone wrote in a clever way. And the result of all this vague marketing, well, business leaders don't know what they're actually buying, and teams overestimate what their AI can do or get frustrated when it just doesn't work. And worse, some people give autonomy to systems that aren't ready for it, and then act surprised when things go off the rails. So let's fix this by clearing up the definitions, what these systems really are. Level 1, non-agentic AI, the skilled tool. So this is the kind of AI most of us are already using. So it's described in industry blogs and platforms using this term, representing reactive AI tools. So it does exactly what you tell it. No more, no less. Think of it like a calculator, but smarter. It waits for you to give the instructions, then gives you an output. It won't do anything on its own. No planning, no goals, no initiative. Another relatable example is, imagine you have a really clever assistant sitting next to you. You say, hey, write me a subject line for this email. They write it. You say, now summarize this article. They do it. But they never ask you if you want anything else. They never start anything on their own. They only act when prompted. Now, some real-world uses of non-agentic AI might be ChatGPT in basic prompt and response mode, as many of us have seen and done, Midjourney or DALL-E for image generation, a chatbot that answers questions from a fixed knowledge base, or even Zapier automations that only trigger based on a preset rule, okay, that's set by a human. The human is always in the driver's seat. And that's not a bad thing. It's reliable, safe, and clear, but it's not agentic. Level 2, Semi-Agentic AI, the junior partner. Now we're getting into some more interesting territory. So Semi-Agentic AI has some initiative, okay? You give it a goal and it figures out the steps, maybe even makes a few decisions, but it still works within the human's boundaries, okay? There's usually a human in the loop for anything complex or sensitive. It's therefore the middle ground. The term is used less formally, but matches discussions in LinkedIn and governance frameworks discussing spectrums of autonomy. So an example of this, if we use our assistant from before, this is like giving that assistant a task like, go write a draft blog post from this transcript and turn it into a LinkedIn post and upload it to our content calendar, right? They could do most of that on their own. But if they run into something weird like unclear language or a broken link, they come back to the human and ask what to do. So they're working independently, but not unsupervised. And some real world uses here you might be familiar with might be tools like AutoGPT or Crew AI that simulate autonomy by breaking down goals into steps and using tools to complete them, but they often stall, repeat actions, or make errors without human supervision. So while they'll feel autonomous, they still need you to check in and guide them. A recruitment AI that sources candidates, drafts emails, and schedules interviews, but flags final decisions for the human's review. GitHub, Copilot that writes and debugs code as you go, but doesn't build full applications on their own. AI task planners that break a project into subtasks and creates deadlines, but you approve before it gets added to your team calendar. And of course, semi-autonomous vehicles that operate under highway conditions but require human fallback. They steer, accelerate, and brake, but still rely on the driver to take control in complex or unexpected situations. So this is where most of the exciting stuff's happening at the moment. These systems can genuinely save time, reduce mental load for the human, and free up people for higher order thinking. But they're not fully autonomous. They don't own the outcome. You still do. Level 3, Fully Agentic AI, the autonomous operator. So this is where things get very powerful and risky. Fully Agentic AI can be given a high-level goal, and it will plan, decide, adapt, and execute with little or no human involvement. The term is frequently discussed in vendor and academic sources as autonomous systems capable of context-aware decisions. It doesn't just complete tasks, it sets sub-goals, chooses tools, and corrects the course if something goes wrong. Now imagine that assistant from before that doesn't wait for instructions at all. They see your sales numbers are down, they'll write you a cold outreach campaign, test different subject lines, alpha beta test it with your mailing list, tweak the content based on your response rates, and update your CRM without telling you. That's full agency. It's not just help, it's acting. And some potential real-world uses here are autonomous trading bots that can scan financial markets, predict risk, and adjust portfolios with no humans in the loop. AI fleet managers that reroute delivery trucks based on traffic and weather and order new stock from suppliers if needed. And advanced multi-agent systems that divide and coordinate subtasks between different AI agents in real time. Now, we have to be very clear about this. Very few systems at the moment are truly and fully agentic, okay? So most are either prototypes, heavily sandboxed in certain technical environments, or only agentic within narrow domains. But we're actually getting closer. And if we're going to work with these systems or even build towards them, we need to use the right language. This is where the confusion can creep in. You'll hear creators say things like, this AI agent runs my whole business, or this workflow is fully automated and agentic, or this GPT bot is autonomous. But when you look at it closely, they've just connected ChatGPT to things like Google Docs using Zapier. Okay, that's not agentic AI. That's non-agentic AI plus automation. All right, there's a difference. So here's a rule of thumb you can use. Just because something runs by itself doesn't mean it's agentic. You have to ask the question, who's making the decisions? Who owns the outcome? So if I was to quickly show you this mapping of some common misused terms, AI workflow, what this usually means is a chain of tools connected by the user, which by rights is actually a non-agentic tool, okay? You might hear of the term automation, which usually means preset triggers with fixed actions. So this is usually non-agentic or semi-agentic AI, depending on what is actually being done. You would have heard of the term AI agent, which usually means just a wrapper for ChatGPT, and this is often semi-agentic. You would have heard of the term autonomous GPT, which usually means an AI that tries to complete goals on its own by chaining steps together. but often gets stuck or needs guidance from a human. So what's this? That's right, it's semi-agentic at best. And of course, you've probably heard of the term AI assistant, which could mean anything from a chatbot to a planning agent. So this depends entirely on the function it's doing. It could be any of those things. So this is why businesses are getting confused. If you think you've bought a fully autonomous AI agent, but it still needs you to press run, you're going to be disappointed. If you think Zapier workflows are intelligent, but it breaks the minute something unexpected happens, you're not dealing with agency at all. You're dealing with logic. So let's recap. Non-Agentic AI is a tool. It does what you say and nothing more. Semi-Agentic AI is a collaborator. It takes initiative within your boundaries. And Fully Agentic AI is a decision maker. It acts on its own toward a goal. So right now, most of the useful AI out there is still in the first two categories, and that's okay if we understand it properly. What matters most is clarity of language. If you know what level of agency you're working with, you can design better workflows, avoid expensive mistakes, and stay ready as the tech evolves. And that's where I come in. I help organizations with AI readiness and AI education. That means clearing up exactly this kind of confusion and helping teams design, evaluate, and deploy AI that's appropriate for the task, the risks, and the opportunity. So check out my website at this address and let's have a chat. So if you've enjoyed this video and learned something valuable, like the video, share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Subscribe to my channel, Digital Skills with Andrew, and until my next video, stay informed.